If you've ever been in a relationship that crashed and burned, or you're currently in one that is creating more conflict than joy, then you know the heartbreak that this causes. The energy it takes from you, the creativity it sucks up, and the impact it has on your health and well-being. So much. So, first, repeat after me. I'm over this shit. I deserve more than that. And I'm going to actively create what actually works for me. So we're going to actually get into this today. We're talking about love. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me no more. Hi there. I'm Jennilee, a mindset coach that loves to work on the one relationship that impacts everything in your life, and that is your relationship with you. This impacts your health, your wealth, your relationships, everything. It starts here. So this week we're talking about love. So in light of our themes of sovereignty, creativity, freedom, and aligning with who we actually are, let's talk about how to approach love and relationships so that they make our life better, more supported, more pleasurable, and what you truly desire. In All About Love by Bell Hooks, she describes love as an action, not a feeling. Love is an act of will, namely both an intention and an action. To truly love, we must learn to mix various ingredients: care, affection, recognition, respect, commitment, and trust, as well as honest and open communication. But we're often shown in all of our culture, the movies, the books, the music, that love, at least romantic love, is a feeling, something that you fall into or out of. That it's beyond the mind, beyond the will. And people can use this as an excuse to cheat or to be abusive or all sorts of unloving things. They'll just say, oh, I just couldn't help myself. Is that true? Is that really love when we just can't help ourselves or we fall into it? Because we're inundated with these messages all day, every day, we confuse feeling for love and its truth and power. We don't get clear about what love needs to look like for us and how we will show up in a loving way to our relationships. Love isn't perfect, but it can be far more intentional, conscious, and active than we really give it credit. And when we really get clear about love for us, then we'll stop chasing heartbreak and start choosing to really show up to the love we deserve and desire. So, if love is an intention and an action, then you need to get clear. What is your intention? What action defines love for you? So let's look at some examples of love as feeling versus love as intention and action. Love as feeling could look like butterflies and infatuation, like the rush of excitement and nervous energy that you get when you're around somebody new, thinking about them constantly, feeling high on their attention. Or it could be something like desire and attraction, physical and emotional longing, feeling pulled towards someone intensely. Or it could be an ego booster of validation, feeling love because someone desires and admires you. I know I've done that one. It could be possessiveness or attachment, feeling afraid to lose someone and mistaking that fear or dependence for love. Now, for much of that, like butterflies, desire and attraction, getting some validation, like there's nothing wrong with that. But when we mistake that for love, then we're going to be pulled into things that really don't align with us. So what does love look like when it's intention and action? Your intention could be things like truth, telling the truth even when it's messy, receiving direct, open, and respectful communication. Your intention could be reciprocity, showing as experiencing mutual energy, care, and initiation, not having to give more, explain more, or always reach out to them first. It could be rooted in self-respect, where you are being loved by those who are also love and respect themselves. The relationship is honest, mutual, and grounded. It could be the intention of sovereignty, where each one shows up as whole. Neither is responsible for the other's emotions. And of course, we can care about other people's emotions, but being responsible for it has a whole different flavor. Maybe you've been in relationships where someone will come at you and attack you like, you made me feel this way. Why are you doing, they're putting this onus of responsibility about how they feel on you. Yes, you should be accountable for the impact of how you're showing up, and you can't make someone feel something. You can care about it, but you can't make them feel that way. And sometimes it's not about you. And that's where it gets all muddled up, when we've decided that we're not sovereign beings and that we maintain our sovereignty even when we're in relationship. So, what kind of ideas are sparked as you listen to this comparison? What greater intention and action would you like to bring to love? And what would happen if you did? So let's first start with where to begin. After you've got some clarity around what love looks like for you, your intentionality around love, now what? So we start with self-love. Bell Hooks says, one of the best guides to how to be self-loving is to give ourselves the love we are often dreaming about receiving from others. So have you ever wanted someone to tell you that you're beautiful or attractive? Have you been wanting someone to validate that you're really doing a lot, and maybe even more than you should be, and support you in some way? Have you been wanting someone to tell you that you're enough, that you're valuable, and that you matter? These can be really powerful places for us to begin to offer our own selves this love, this validation, this support, or even delegation if you've been doing too much. Bell Hooks goes on to say, there was a time when I felt lousy about my over 40 body, saw myself as too fat, too this or too that. Yet I fantasized about finding a lover who would give me the gift of being loved as I am. It is silly, isn't it? That I would dream of someone else offering to me the acceptance and affirmation I was withholding from myself. Now, of course, it's easier said than done, especially for women and AFAB individuals. Our relationship with our body is taught to be like a war, always finding the flaws and how we don't measure up. This can be a really big thing to shift for us to start changing this relationship, but it's also really important. Once I facilitated a book discussion for the book Pussy Reclamation, and in it there was this exercise that was about reclaiming your relationship to yourself. So the exercise kind of started off by almost like offering yourself a date, buying or cooking the food that you really love, maybe getting yourself some flowers or any little thing that you really enjoy. And after you really had that nice intentional time with yourself, nourishing yourself, you would take yourself and your body and go have a nice relaxing bath. Something else that's really like cozy and loving for you. Then finally, after this meal and this loving bath, you bring yourself and your body to the mirror, naked, in all your truth. And you look genuinely for things that you like about yourself. You're intentionally, consciously changing the pattern of maybe how you normally look at yourself in the mirror. And this time, you're only looking for things you actually like. Like, for example, when I did this, I said to myself, I really like that I'm tall. I'm 5'9". That's tall for a lot of people. And I like that my hair is naturally dark. It goes well with my tone. I like my eyes, especially when they sparkle with enthusiasm. I like my collarbone and that my shoulders seem strong. I like the shape of my hips. And you can go on for as long as you want to. And it's okay if you have just one thing or two things or three things. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the list is, but it's that you're practicing looking at yourself with love and kindness and looking for things you like instead of that criticism that we're often trained to do toward our body. And then after that, she invites folks to give themselves like a really nice, relaxing self-massage where you've offered your body and yourself nourishment, maybe something like a bath, really nice affirmations of things you genuinely like about yourself, and then touch. I remember when I did this exercise, it was really powerful. I think towards the end of that, I had this like really releasing deep cry. And it wasn't even so much that I had thoughts going on. I was just like, oh, I needed to have this experience with myself. And if you look at this exercise in light of love as feeling versus intention and action, you don't have to start off feeling a certain way to do this really intentional action for yourself. You start off with action, showing yourself that you love you, you care about you, you matter to you. And the whole experience is a practice of intentionality and action, choosing love and to be loving towards yourself. So that is an exercise you can do. There's also all sorts of other things that you can do to show yourself to act in a self-loving manner. And even if you don't feel that way initially, your actions are showing you that you do, and you're committed to your relationship with yourself, which is truly the core relationship you'll ever have in your entire life that impacts everything. So then what? We've defined love. We started loving ourselves more fully. And then you commit to being love and accepting nothing less. So your definition of love doesn't have to be a rule book you throw at someone who just doesn't truly match it. That's not accepting nothing less. It instead can be a standard that you honor, even if you have to honor another person by letting them go. Bell Hooks says, we fear that evaluating our needs and then carefully choosing partners will reveal that there is no one for us to love. Most of us prefer to have a partner who is lacking than no partner at all. What becomes apparent is that we may be more interested in finding a partner than in knowing love. So you got to be honest with yourself. And it's also okay if you're not ready for that. It's okay. But be honest. Are you just looking for a partner, any partner, or are you looking to know love? which requires knowing yourself, which requires defining love and holding that standard for you, for them. It's loving to somebody else to not partner with them if they don't actually work for you. That's not fair to them either. So what would a commitment to knowing love cost you? What would it open you up to? What would you need to change? What would you need to receive? When I started creating more intentional relationships, I remember a time that I realized I needed to end a relationship. Even after communicating what really worked for me, they just weren't able to show up with what I considered respect and care. It doesn't make them wrong, just means that it didn't fit. I realized that when I ended the relationship, I would need to face my loneliness and pain. And when I did end the relationship, I remember going home and letting myself actually feel it, be with the actual experience. It was powerful to approach pain and loneliness with intention and consciously choose to face it. I remember saying to myself, I'm going to sit with this. I choose to face this and not run. I have to, because if this keeps getting me into relationships that don't work, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to face it. Yes, it's painful, but I'm going to be here in it. I'm going to show myself that I can do this. And it really helped me to realize that I could. I could face the pain of ending, especially when it meant I was choosing me, choosing what actually worked for me. Because staying in a relationship that doesn't work, it creates pain too, and you're just extending it. Like ending something is painful. It's painful for a time. And then you come back to yourself. So let's look at this whole idea of committing to being love and then honoring our standards, right? So in love as intention and action as it shows up in standards could look something like, and these are some examples. Honesty is consistent and clear. I do not accept dishonesty, avoidance, or mixed signals. I require open, respectful communication even when it's hard. Autonomy is respected. I will not be guilted, coerced, or manipulated. I will require space to choose freely, think independently, and express myself without fear of disapproval. It could be that emotional and physical safety are present, always. This should be everyone's standard. Love does not punish, withdraw, or shame. I require emotional regulation, repair after rupture, and the absence of psychological harm. Now, I know that we're not all regulated all the time, but the core of what this person is needs to be emotional regulation, or that they can regulate themselves, that they're working on that it's not being put on me to be the one that regulates them, right? That used to be a pattern for people I was connected with, that I was the stabilizing energy for people who were not good at regulating themselves. But that made it so that I was never able to show up in my messiness, because they definitely, if they couldn't handle their own, they weren't going to handle mine. And that wasn't fair to me. It could be things like boundaries are welcomed. I do not have to over-explain or justify my limits. I require people who honor no as an act of self-respect, not rejection. Like, okay, so we've got our standards. How do we know they're being met? I want to look too at love as intention and action in the form of signs, like my internal signs that someone's meeting my standard and that this relationship is good for me and for us. So signs could be things like you feel emotionally safe and grounded. You're not on edge waiting for the other shoe to drop. You feel relaxed in your body around them. Your nervous system is settled, not spiked or triggered into like a stress response. You trust their words and follow through. Promises don't create anxiety, they feel believable and solid. You feel energized, not drained after time together. The connection fuels your joy, not your stress. You feel growthful, not in constant repair mode. Challenges feel like opportunities, not survival tests. You feel more you around them, not less. Your essence is amplified, not diluted. And of course, this is the overarching energy of a relationship. Yes, sometimes it'll be stressful. Yes, sometimes there'll be conflict. Yes, sometimes we'll each get triggered into our old shit. But the core of it is safe. The core of it is open for you to be your whole self and them to be their whole self. The core of it is energizing. The core of it is growth-oriented. And the core of it allows you to be you. And really expand on what I mean by the core of it. That does not mean it only happened at the very beginning of the relationship and now the rest of it's been stressful and awful and really lacking. That does not the core of it mean. That's a honeymoon phase. The core of it means there's a consistent pattern of this happening throughout to today, and that these are things you can rely on. That there might be a one-off here and there might be occasional times of stress, but that's not the core, the stabilizing, consistent core of it. And it's okay too if we realize, hey, I know I've got my own things coming to this that's impacting me even meeting my own standard. Maybe you need to work on your own regulation skills. That's okay. There's so many resources and things that we can involve ourselves in so that we are showing up at the standard that we're asking for. And we are co-creating this standard together. But you knew that. And you are here for this work. So let's do a recap. Define love for yourself. Get clear. Know what love looks like for you. Know what your intentions are. Know what the actions would look like then, informed by what it is that you know intentional love is. Begin with self-love. Start showing up for yourself like that. Because once you do, once you're actually showing up for yourself like you want others to show up for you, you'll be much less likely to accept less from other people. Because you're already giving that to yourself. You're familiarizing yourself with it. You're making this your personal standard. And so it's so much easier then to have that reflected out in the relationships around you when you're actually doing that for you. You can't wait. You need to start with you. And then you commit to being love and honoring your standards and signs. So, what is love? Don't hurt me no more. So, because love is intention and action, these are things you can actually create. You don't have to wait for a feeling. You don't have to be drawn into something. You don't have to repeat patterns where you're winding up with people that don't actually work for you, that are harming you, and that are wasting your time. You don't need any more of that. It's time for something better, something you actually deserve, and something you actually desire. So I want to hear what love is to you. From this idea that love is intention and action, let me know. What does love look like for you? What are you committed to for you? And what new standard are you going to set? Let me know in the comments. I'm rooting for you. I'm celebrating you. And I'm excited for what you're going to create.